Have you had a good time so far here?
Yeah, I'm having a great time. I'm honestly a little overwhelmed by how much I enjoyed that last one.
That's good. And how about you?
It's going very well. I like that last movie as well. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's good to know. And how have you seen Scotland? Scotland?
Oh, Scotland is cool. It's very grey. But the people are really nice, super nice, and everything's really pretty. And we live in the mall now.
Okay.
That's cool. I don't ever need to leave the mall.
Aberdeen is great because of all the granites. It's
That's what I heard.
for granites.
That's what I heard. I went to that bar that's a church
Uh-huh.
and just documented all the people in the throes of alcohol. It was very beautiful.
All right. So we're discussing the rise of AI in the creative, industry, how it impacts the independent filmmaker today. So I would like to ask you first. I enjoyed your movie, meanwhile, and have you had any experience applying AI tools at any step of your filmmaking as a filmmaker personally yourself?
So I personally have not had any experience with AI. Leon, maybe if you had
Have you, Liam?
something to say about this.
I've shot a few things on iPhone, and iPhone has a machine learning aspect to anything you use in the camera. So it tracks shots differently. So it's like a soft AI. It's not like a generative AI, like Alexa or ChatGPT or something. It is just a learning algorithm. I mean, like it's something you understand that. It does. Oh, I'll take it. Thanks. It does use a sort of AI. I think a lot of people are unaware of what they're using. When you're using computers, a lot of the time you're using things that are beyond simple, computations. The software itself, camera software, uses a sort of AI.
Right.
So I haven't used any generative AI.
Okay.
But I've used just the natural, on-board software, which has AI elements to it.
Okay. So I'm glad that you've mentioned generative AI and all of that. So OpenAI has ChatGPT, which recently, it was writers in the US who went on a strike, on a very long strike. They had lots of demands, some of which had to do with where does the line stop? Is AI going to take our jobs? Is ChatGPT going to write scripts?
Horrible scripts, I'm sure.
For now.
Now, here's the thing. So 3 days ago, and I think this, would interest you and should have major impacts for filmmakers. OpenAI launched Sora. Now, Sora is a text-to-video model. So it generates.
I saw the
Did you
video where
see that?
it's walking through Tokyo or
Yes,
something like that.
it
was
was
really nice.
Yes, so it can do voicing, it can do expressions and complex camera motion, multiple characters, vibrant emotions. And it's got me wondering, it's not open to the public yet, but they're working with some filmmakers at the moment to see how they can incorporate that into their creative process. And I'm wondering, what does that spell? I think personally for me, especially for animations, right? Is that something that you would expect or you would accept? In what ways do you think AI can or should be useful support for independent filmmakers now and in the future?
Right. It is a tool, and I think a lot of us are very scared of it, and I'm scared of it. I think there's a lot that is scary, but hopefully we can use it and it can be a tool that's added on, that's supplemental, that's not replacing workers.
Right.
And I think, like you said, in animation especially, that's an opportunity. People used to draw by hand every frame, right? And so we've come so far from that, and no one saw that. And now we can potentially go even further with AI. And so I do think it's a tool that filmmakers can use, and hopefully, I've heard people talk about AI potentially can make things a lot easier and accessible for independent filmmakers, for really low budget filmmakers. So maybe it'll even open the door for people who are just starting out, who don't have a lot of resources, to actually be able to make really cool things. I know Everything Everywhere All at Once used some AI, which I think is a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful. It is also definitely scary, but you know, I mean, with the camera, right?
Yeah.
People were scared that the camera was going to ruin art and, like, you know, like ruin things for painters. But obviously, it's brought us this whole new art form. So.
Thank you. I'm glad that you're thinking about what it can do, how it can enhance, you know, the creatives, the filmmakers' process. Which brings me to my next question. What possible negative impact do you think AI can have on independent filmmakers?
Just overusage, oversaturation.
Yeah.
Me, myself, being a filmmaker in all aspects of the film, like having studied, I'm a writer, like I studied acting, I'm a photographer, I went to film school, all the things, so I try and do all the things, I'm an editor. Like, to hear someone told me that they're using like a AI to write a script, and I'm like, that's really lazy, like, just write the script. Like, if you don't have the idea to write the script, then don't write the script. Someone else has already written the script, you can just use theirs. Like, so I think any tool, like, has the capability of being something that you rely on too much. Because in the end, we're storytellers, we're telling a story. I remember in film school, some guy got so caught up in doing his storyboards that he didn't make his movie. Like, anytime you get too caught up in one thing, like, any tool is something you use. You're serving your art. What I think can happen, and does happen with anything, is over-reliance can make people lazy. Like,
I see.
In the end, we're humans telling a human story. I don't worry about artificial intelligence replacing me because it's not going to tell my story. Like, maybe I won't make money, but I don't make money now. So, like, I don't make any money as a film. It costs me a lot of money. Like, so I don't worry about that. I think the question, I think it can make people lazy.
It can make people lazy. Okay, I see. Because the reason we're training,
yeah,
you put model in, but it's something that I've always wondered myself. Can you really capture emotion and feed that to a model? Do you get what I mean? Like, and that's what I think is the difference, right? You can write a script, you can get AI to write a script or shoot a film, but there is something about our individuality.
Yeah.
We're unique.
And I like to think that AI is not going to be able to tell the same stories we can tell. But if you think about it, I mean, right now it can't. But in the future, we really don't know what it will be able to do. And even we are these creatures that are, you know, made up of different molecules. We're like little machines that are putting stuff together, evolving. And so it's hard to know, you know, maybe something can be programmed that will be able to generate things that do have those emotions. And we're just going to have to see. But I think one of the things that I find most concerning about AI and what that could do for the film industry and for new filmmakers especially is that it might make a lot of tasks easier, it might make editing faster, it might make casting faster, and it might get rid of a lot of busy work, which tends to be a good thing. But the starting work, that kind of work that you have to trudge through is sometimes where we learn a lot, and sometimes where young filmmakers start to get their feet and start to get into the industry by doing those tasks and learning from doing those tasks. And so it's a little scary. How are people going to train? How are people going to get in if suddenly the bar is so much higher and work is being produced at such a faster rate with this tool?
Right, I see what you mean. You did mention something, you talked about casting, how AI could help with casting. So recently I read in the news about a company that was under a lot of fire because they were using AI to hire in their hiring and firing process. I forget which company it was exactly that got sued because they had staff and they had to have all of their staff go through a process where they would re-interview for the role they were already in, and more than half of the staff didn't qualify by AI standards, and they went back and they were suing the company. So it brings me to this question about casting. You mentioned AI and casting. As an independent filmmaker, when you're looking at people that you want to work with, I mean, sometimes you see someone they don't seem perfect for the role by many standards, but there's just something there as a human.
Yes.
Do you get what I mean? And you want to take a chance on this person. How do you think that using AI for casting, for instance, would be good or bad? How can it impact things in that area?
Yeah, I think casting is, for me, one of the most exciting parts of filmmaking, like starting to see who you might get to work with and who might bring these characters to life. And I think it's so beautiful, and that human touch of a human casting director finding those people is so beautiful. So it is a little scary to me. I think it's also pretty problematic, or it could be pretty problematic to put that into the hands of AI and not have that personal touch. Because what is AI going off of to choose who is going to be right for these roles?
Right.
And I know, like with early AI models for facial recognition, for example, all the coders were like white guys. So all these white guys were using pictures of themselves to feed into the program, and the AI then could only recognize like white cis men as people.
Exactly.
And so you have to think about, if AI models are casting, what are the models of good casting choices that they're being given? And if they're looking at history of film, are we then limiting possible representation and opening up opportunities for people if we're putting it into the hands of AI? So that's something to be really careful of.
I would never see myself using AI in casting. I am not Universal Studios. I am not a huge company. Like, casting anything is just like, who can I get? Like, I'm in Hollywood. There's zillions of people. It doesn't mean that I can access all those people. Like, and I don't see myself using AI for casting for anything. I have a multitude of people who like I can access, and like, I have this much money. Do you want to be in this? Like, I'm shooting on this day. You know, like, are you available that day? And it's like, the AI is not going to pull someone out of the sky for me as an independent filmmaker. Like, just who can you get? Like, who works? You know, who's not a jerk? And hopefully they're a good actor.
So here, I'm just going to paint a scenario, right? Because you're saying this is your budget. Everything that you've said to me, I can put into a system and say, and leave the space for budget. You say what the budget is, say what the location is, say when and where.
I like doing things myself. I'm not going to do that.
There you go.
Why bother? Are you going to do something? Are you going to make something? Or are you going to have someone else do it for you? Is the end. Like, I'm not going to have AI shoot my thing. I'm not going to have AI edit my thing. I'm not going to have AI cast my thing. I'm not going to... What can I not do? I can't change the oil in my car. So if artificial intelligence wants to do that, like, maybe the mechanic's job is at risk. But as far as a filmmaker, like, I make films. So like, I'm not worried about AI. AI can go get me lunch if it wants, because like, I'm kind of busy.
So you're in it for the experience. You're in it because you enjoy.
This is my thing. I'm making
the process.
It's not like I don't have a business that's like making me this money that I need to plug in a computer program to. Like, I'm an artist. This is my art. This is what I'm making. Like, anybody wants me to help. Like, AI can move the lights around. Like, that's what I need. You know, AI can go like drive these actors to the other place because I have other stuff to do. Like,
and that's today. So we're talking about now and in the future. Remember, so you're saying it's not going to save you money today. Remember when cell phones came out and they cost an arm and a leg? And decades later, they're quite affordable. You can get on a plan and pay £10 a month or something and pay that off. I think because AI is expensive today, doesn't mean it will always be expensive. Do you get what I mean?
I think for generative effects, if you need it for generative effects, like, that is where I think, that is where AI will affect independent filmmakers the most. I don't, the young lady who was interviewing us yesterday, she said she worked in After Effects. And I don't use After Effects. I don't feel comfortable using After Effects. I write my script to not have special effects. So if I have access to AI that can, like, give me as a filmmaker like better looking special effects, then that is something
you would consider.
I would consider it for that, because I'm not gonna pay someone to spend 600 hours working on special effects, and then I don't have the money for that, you know. But if I can spend $1,000 and get this program and learn how to use it, then that is something I would use AI for.
Okay. So let's talk about the audience. Let's talk about the consumers of the products that you as filmmakers, put out there. What do you think, right? Do you think filmmaking audience would mind, really? Would you think that they would bother much if they were to know that AI is used in some of the, films that is put out there? If the quality is the same or even better. If they see a film today and they say this was made with AI and it's this good, and they can compare it to what wasn't made with AI, do you think people would mind?
I think it depends, and I think it'll vary.
Okay.
It depends how much the AI is being used. It depends on the specific audience. For example, like I mentioned, Everything Everywhere All at Once used some AI, but I think they were using it, as a tool to supplement a lot of other stuff. And I think it's a great film that a lot of people enjoyed. I think we do have the possibility to see films at some point that are almost entirely made by AI, and I don't know. I'm curious to see how audiences will respond to that. Because I'm inclined to say, if it's enjoyable, people are going to watch it. But at the end of the day, for me, I heard this really wonderful quote about AI writing, which is another thing that, as a writer, a lot of authors are kind of concerned about. But someone said, if someone can't be bothered to write it, then why should I be bothered to read it?
Okay.
And I feel that for film, too.
Okay, so you think that the process, people care for the process more than the finished product?
And the human heart to it, right? Like, someone had the need to create this. Someone made this to express themselves, to touch other people. And if it's not being made for that purpose, then why do I care? I watch films, I'm seeking out human connection. I want to feel something that is being created by another human being. And if it's being made by an AI, I might watch it out of curiosity, but I wouldn't really feel that drive to watch films made by AI, because I don't necessarily see that as human art, and I don't see that as something that's going to fulfill that need in me to feel connected to other people through art.
I see. I'm going to tweak that question a little bit for you. If you were to watch a movie and like it, and then find out eventually that this movie was made by AI, would it change your perception of it?
Like, to what extent? Like, AI was used in the filmmaking, or like AI wholly created this film?
AI wholly created this film.
That would be amazing if I liked it, and then I found out that it was created by a program or a personality. And then you get into I wouldn't be bothered by that. If I like it, I like it. Movies aren't real in the first place. It's called acting. Those aren't real things anyway. If I watch something and I like it, then I would be amazed that Siri made that,
Right.
Because we are humans, and we tell human stories. Like, dogs tell stories in dog piss, and the dog will read it. But all I walk by is I smell piss. I'm lost on it. So if this other type of species, a machine species, can create a story that affects me, then it's doing a better story. It's doing a better job than a dog is. I can tell you that. So people who want to make things will do it in the most efficient way. And people who make companies a lot of money, the companies will let them do things their old way, but they'll be the exception. Like that guy, if he sold if he sold 1 million copies of stuff, and his name makes a lot of money, then the company will allow it, but efficiently, it's not efficient. Ashley and I are working on a children's book right now, and she's had to adapt to using all iPad, and that's not how she generally does stuff, but it just goes quicker. It moves quicker. So I think the most people, if everyone's using AI and that works, and it gets me to tell my story, and I'm still the captain of the ship, then I'm gonna use it because it gets the things done. And I'll get it done. Maybe Skya doesn't need to use it because she's so amazing and she gets her things done and she doesn't need AI. But it's just gonna be a matter of the few who don't need to, won't need to, and the most will because it's more efficient.